Welcome to the Tom Galicchio Tomcast. I'm Tom Galicchio here with the one, the only, Steve the Jerk Cazzola.
Oh, thanks, Tom. Yeah.
How are you doing today, Steve?
I'm doing awesome. I don't know how that jerk nickname came about.
It just came out in practice today.
Why, though? Am I that much of a jerk to practice with?
You weren't a jerk at all. I think it's one of those ironic nicknames.
Oh, yeah. You like calling a big guy tiny, that type of ironic?
Yeah.
Well, I hope that's the case.
I call Anthony Big Anthony. You know, he's like tiny.
You know, he's the smallest person on the team, probably. Whatever.
So, Steve, before I start, Steve is 7-0 now?
6-0.
6-0 pro.
Yep.
About to be 7-0 pro. He's 3-0 in Bellator.
2-0 in Bellator.
2-0 in Bellator. Not about to be 3-0 because we just signed with the World Series.
Yeah, we just signed with World Series of Fighting a couple of months ago, so I'm very excited about that. So.
How does it make you feel to give up fighting and take up baseball?
Yeah, I tried playing baseball once. It didn't work out for me. I realized I'm just better at punching people.
It's a hard sport.
No, like as soon as I got to high school, man, it was game over. Like I played baseball from when I was like 5 years old, played travel ball and everything like that. And then as soon as I got to high school, like all these just dudes just came up throwing like these wicked curveballs and like all that. I'm like, I can't hit anymore. I had like no confidence catching. So I was like on the freshman B team and then I just gave it up.
Did you play any sports in high school besides
Yeah,
this?
man. I mean, I played football, baseball my freshman year, and then once baseball became just too hard, I switched to track for my sophomore and junior year. But football was my game, man. Football was my sport in high school. I thought like that was going to be the big thing that I got. I was like, I'm going to be a football player. But then I come to realize I'm just a short little white guy, and they don't do well in football over a period of time.
Were you going to play for the Cowboys? What's your team?
Oh, Chicago Bears. Yeah, I'm from Chicago.
Chicago,
I'm from Illinois, so I was gonna play for the Bears, and I was just gonna be like the Wes Welker. The next one coming up, I was just gonna be that guy. But
he's done now, Wes Welker, huh?
no, he's with the Rams now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought he had head trauma or something.
No, dude. The only reason why I know that is because the Bears just played and beat the Rams, and Wes Welker was on the field, and I was like, oh, okay. Like I guess he's back doing things. Like he just signed with the team like the last week.
I liked Wes. As much as I hate the Patriots, I do enjoy Wes Welker just because I had him on my fantasy team.
I hate the Patriots too.
I hate the Patriots.
It's just no fun.
You know what? The Jets, the New York Jets, are America's team.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Just to get that straight.
Oh, yeah.
The New York Jets are America's team. And the Patriots, they're England's team. So anybody who cheers for the Patriots is unpatriotic and un-American. That's why they're the New England Patriots.
Dude, I just don't like the Patriots. All I do is like I just follow Bears and I'll follow fighting, and that's really I don't even follow. I don't play fantasy. My wife is in 2 leagues while I'm in nothing. So of course like, I'm like the chick of like the relationship because I don't have any fantasy teams. But she has like 2 fantasy teams.
You're inside like cooking and stuff while she's doing the draft. And
I'm a great cook. What can I say?
So do you feel like you wasted your life not wrestling in high school now?
Dude, I mean, oh man, it's something like I'm mad at my dad about it. I really am. Like I'm sore at my dad about it. And the reason why is because like in 8th grade, I asked my dad, like, Dad, can I wrestle? My dad like wrestled in high school. Like the older he gets, the better he was in high school. But you know, he's like, no, you're too tall. I was like 5'9", 5'10" in like 8th grade, so I was relatively tall for the age. And he goes, no, like play basketball instead. So I like played basketball my 8th grade year instead of wrestling. So I just never got into wrestling. But as soon as I get into MMA, I was like 19 years old, got into MMA. All my teammates are wrestlers. I was at Northern Illinois, and a lot of my teammates were former, NIU wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and they're just kicking the living shit out of me in practice because they can take me down. While my background was Taekwondo. It was like just stand up. So it was like these creative kicks, like snapping.
Do you feel they're useful at all in MMA?
The only thing, like as far as like that Taekwondo translates to MMA for me is creativity.
Okay.
And like distance and just that range, kind of like that in and out footwork.
You're very good with that.
Yeah, like in and out. I do that. I mean, that's the thing. Like when you're trying to avoid the ground from those wrestlers, those jiu-jitsu guys, you gotta try to control that distance, be in and out, left to right, and be long with it, and just trying to work in that deception.
Okay.
When you're gonna, they think you're gonna punch, kick. They think you're gonna kick, punch, and then if you can work that into takedowns, like that's the ultimate goal that I'm gonna try to get on now. Is like, okay,
you're gonna try to beat.
I'm gonna try to
takedowns.
I'm gonna try to just be well rounded. At least just get a nasty double leg. So if they just charge it at me, I'll double them, and I'll hopefully just be able to get right into side control and do some work, and then. That'll be. I just want them to be aware of it.
That you have wrestling. So this way, when you make it to the big show, the UFC, that when they have your stats in the video game, you'll have something on the wrestling.
I won't be a 0%.
You won't be that character nobody wants to play.
Exactly. Like, this guy can't take down. He gets stuffed every time. No, everyone wants a little bit of status on each category.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, remember when you're a kid and you would create yourself in the video game, everything would be 99, 99.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was the best in the world.
When the first UFC video game, I made a Tom Galicchio in every weight class, and it kind of looked like me every time.
Oh, really?
But when you lose, like if you get dropped, they didn't have enough hair on it.
Exactly, the hairiest character in the game.
But when you drop, it was so realistic. Just seeing yourself drop, you're like, I don't know. A part of you dies a little bit.
Oh yeah, but no. Whenever I create myself in the video game, I was always 99. Like I never did it like somewhat realistically. I was like, no, I'm the best at everything. Screw this. I could do. I could do it all.
I could wrestle.
Yeah, I can wrestle. I can jujitsu. I can do all this stuff. My punching power is the best. My speed is the best.
What is your favorite martial art? I should say. And I guess I'll we could break boxing, and we could put it into 3 categories: striking, takedowns, or ground.
Man, my favorite. I
doesn't mean what you're best at. Your favorite.
Yeah, I know. I mean, definitely the one that just piques my interest the most is definitely the grappling, the jujitsu involved with it, because it's so intricate. There's just so many ways to use it. It's one of those things like you just never feel so manhandled at points by someone who it could be completely small. You like one of my professors at Oceanside Jiu-Jitsu, Professor Nat, 135, 140 pounds.
Okay.
But just will tear me a new one because he's just that level. He's just that level of a black belt. I mean, he's a Hibaro Jiu-Jitsu, black belt. And so his skills are just absolutely incredible, and he just mops the floor with me. And just one of those things, man. Like you can kind of get a lucky punch with striking.
Yeah,
you can kind of out muscle someone.
You can always get a lucky submission.
Yeah, for sure, but it's a lot less likely, man. When someone knows there's just not such a bigger gap between someone who knows what they're doing in jiu-jitsu as opposed to someone who doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone doesn't know what they're doing in striking and someone who does, is there a big, gap? Sure. But it's just nothing like in jiu-jitsu where there's thousands, millions of moves that can just destroy you when you know how to use them and put them together.
You're right. Especially at the highest level.
Oh, absolutely.
But I mean, in striking, you see that too. Like, look at Holly Holmes, Ronda Rousey.
Oh, yeah, that was gnarly.
That was gnarly.
That was crazy.
And you know what? I kind of realized something yesterday. I had an epiphany that, like, they were talking about Ronda Rousey's legacy is bringing the women to the UFC. That's her true legacy, and like that people shouldn't be so quick to
I agree with
put
that.
salt on a wound. But she did something that no fighter has ever really done, and that's changed.
No, and she had everyone I think is just jumping on her because of her. I'm gonna put aggressive personality.
Her new MO.
Yeah, but the thing is, if she wasn't like that, she wouldn't have gotten as high or as popular as she did. So one thing, like when you're outspoken like that, you're calling your shots, you're saying what you're gonna do, and you do it, you're gonna shoot.
Yeah.
You're gonna shoot up. You look at Conor McGregor, did the same thing. He tells you what's up, and he does it. When you do that, when you go out there and you perform after talking about it, people are like, oh man, and they develop that passionate opinion about you. That's something that Ron talks about all the time. Passionate opinion. Love me, hate me, but you're gonna want to watch.
Of course.
And that's what gets you elevated so much. It doesn't hurt as much when you have those devastating losses when you're a nice, respectful person and you play with class and you're a good sport. Yeah, you're no one's gonna just call you an asshole and make all these memes about you online and just bash you once you lose. But then again, are you making the money that Ronda's making? Are you getting the exposure that she's doing? She's doing books, she's doing movies.
Honestly, I think she changed the world because women would not be in the UFC without her. 100%. So she's one fighter who's changed the world. So honestly, hats off to her.
I think Gina Carano definitely set that up. She was someone who was beautiful,
but she wasn't
talented.
Yes.
But she got where she needed to go in terms of, I'm going to make a great living for myself making movies. She's talented. talented, she's athletic,
Yes.
and she still has a name to her, so she's awesome. And Ronda, I know Ronda's going to make that transition as well, but she's still a competitor right now.
Yeah. I think we'll see her again fighting in the UFC.
I hope so, man. Like, I really do, because I just don't. The UFC is not like boxing, and like you're not gonna go 30-40-0 when you're a champion. There's no way.
Well, regionally, guys can fight top level guys. I watched Jim Miller and Frankie Edgar fight each other at Reality Fighting for they each got paid $2,000.
Yeah,
because they were the two top guys in Northeast right before he went on to the UFC to fight Tyson Griffin.
Yeah,
guy that nobody wanted to fight. So in this sport, you could have guys fighting each other at the BAMO, or you could even have two top guys fighting each other at Gladiator, even though they don't do that shit anymore.
Yeah, right.
But the best guys can fight each other under 10 fights. Mm-hmm. Opposed to boxing, you go to 20-0, then maybe you start getting contenders. You go to 30-0, maybe you start getting contenders.
Yeah, but in my opinion, man, it's just hard for you to be a champion in the UFC, and you're getting to that 15 to 20, 20 to 25 fight range. And if you're still a champion, you're going to be hitting contender after contender, monster after monster, and these people are just growing and building. That's what makes these guys so special. I mean, guys like Anderson Silva, who have such great titles, like the John Joneses, who just have these amazing runs. Like, that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible in this sport. GSP. It's absolutely amazing. And you know what? Like, is this a blemish? Absolutely. She got dominated. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She got dominated. But okay, you know what? Like, George St. Pierre got dominated by Matt Serra when they first fought. But then he came back. He fought Josh Koscheck, whooped him, came back and fought Matt Serra, whooped him. And no one really even talks about it too much, about that tarnishing GSP's legacy. If Ronda comes back, whether she needs to fight, whether she fights Holly right away, or she gets a fight before, whatever circumstance.
Who's she going to fight, though, if it's not Holly? What's she going to do, beat Misha Tate up for a third time?
No.
Unless they bring Cyborg into the mix, there's nobody... Like, it's got to be Holly, or it's not worth seeing. Yeah,
that's tough, man. I'm trying to think of right now who would be good for her to fight.
She kind of beat up all the girls.
Yeah, she really did.
She really did. She really did all the work for Holly.
So do you think the rematch is the only option?
It's the only option. It's like Anderson Silva had a rematch. If John Jones lost, he'd have a rematch. Like, if John Jones is coming back to the UFC, he deserves an immediate.
How do you feel about her getting a rematch, even though she got beat the way in which she did? Just kind of like Cain Velasquez got beat by Reese the way in which she did, and he's getting another rematch. I mean, usually we used to see guys, have those close fights, decisions, or like, those Rory McDonald fights where they're so close. Like, okay, we want to see that again. But now it seems like, okay, well, maybe we have a little bit of lack of options and a lack of names. So we're gonna get. But again, people are gonna pay for it, though. I would pay for it. I'd see it again. Absolutely, I'd see a rematch right away.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a fight that people want to see. I mean, unless you're bringing in another name, there's nobody really left for her to fight. She did all the hard work for Holly already.
Yeah,
she kind of did all her work, and
But Holly's not gonna be hitting the media and everything and doing the things that Ronda had to do. I mean, Ronda just had
she had the looks to her. She had the
not that Holly. I mean, not that Holly's not an attractive woman, because she is. But yeah, Ronda just was just on a platform, just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, you're talking about like the movie that's coming out that she's doing a role in. You're talking about her book. You're talking about her being the cover of the video game. That's a lot of stuff, man.
ESPN, Sports
That's a lot of
Illustrated.
stuff. And I'm not saying that that had anything to do with the fight. Could have, maybe. I'm not saying it did, though. That's just a lot, man. And Holly's not going to have to deal with that much. I mean, I think she's going to deal with a lot more publicity than she ever has in the past. It's going to womp her schedule up, and we'll see how she manages it.
Well, yeah, she also held the WBC title, the WBA title, and the UFC title. Those are 3 huge titles. So,
that's crazy.
But the question is she the greatest? Now, is Holly the greatest female athlete of all time?
Of all time?
Or is it Serena Williams?
The greatest female athlete of all time? No, it's not Holly yet.
Maybe Serena Williams.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not having a moment. It's having multiple moments.
Yes.
It's having an impact, not just once, but over and over and over and over. People who do this, before their prime, in their prime, after their prime type of thing, and they just keep growing and mastering it, and then they're just an icon. I think that was the big thing about Ronda, that she was an icon for women's MMA, and that's why this defeat was just so crazy, because it was just watching Superman get beat by a human.
And you kind of saw the demise play out, her at the weigh-ins, and you just kind of her mother going against the coach. You saw the demise kind of play out, and I kind of believed after weigh-ins that I was like, I think Holly's going to really take it to her.
You know, I didn't think it was like that. When I was talking about it, everybody's like, how do you think this match is going to be? I'm like, don't count Holly out. I said she's got great range. She uses her kicks really well. She's got that boxing. She can control distance, can keep her at the end of her punches, which she ended up doing. I really thought, though, that what was going to happen was that Ronda was going to close in that distance with her boxing, get a trip or get on those hips in the kind of like that T position. Yeah. And hit a throw, hit a takedown, and then Holly would just leave an arm out. I mean, having long limbs, she's just going to get an arm out there.
Oh, yeah,
and something's going to hit like that.
They're doing good things at Greg Jackson's.
For sure. I mean, the camp's been around forever. Now it's just, they have a whole new facility now.
I think Sam was there about 6-7 years ago, and he told me Holly Holm was there at the time. So she's been doing MMA for longer than people think. Too.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot behind the scenes stuff that a lot of people.
And she is. You could look at her. She is an athletic woman.
Oh, she's ripped.
She'd probably whoop my ass standing.
Oh yeah, I'd let her.
I'd let her.
Do with me what you will. It's okay. I'll take a hit for that.
You'll take it. Oh man, I bet her. I know she like spars with Jones and stuff. I hear she chips.
Have you seen that? Up. I mean, it's very light in movement, but you even saw the way in which I saw a little clip of it. Man, you could just tell by her movement. John didn't even know what was up, like this, the angle she was hitting, the movement, the inside and out. Man, when you know boxing, and you can just judge range, distance, and movement, and work in those slips just into a game. It's crazy, man. I think it's really good. I think every fighter needs to box, box.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What I try to do personally is that I try to box and work in my kicks as well. Like I don't do just straight boxing where I do no kicks, or straight Muay Thai where it's just very stiff and upright. Yeah. I try, combine it, make it a hybrid, make it your own. That's what.
Now, do you You got a boxing coach up in San Diego, right?
Yeah, his name's Manny Torres. I work at the UFC gym in Carlsbad, and he happened to work there too. And I saw him coaching. It's just like this little Mexican dude. And I'm like, he probably knows how to box.
He probably knows.
I'm like, most likely he knows how to box. So I was like, hey, it was before my first Bellator fight. I realized I need to hit mitts, because the fight before that, the one I had in Chicago, I didn't hit any mitts, and I could kind of feel it. I saw it in my performance. I'm like, man, my hands are down. I'm looking so sloppy right now. I'm like, I gotta clean this up the best I can. So I went and I talked to him, and he's like, yeah, man, I'll train you for sure. So we started working together, and just hitting mitts and getting that movement down. And he's a quick little guy, so if you're not moving your head, he'll just just knock it. Oh my God, what the hell happened? Move. So no, it's been awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, it's been awesome working with him, and you see just start to evolve and progress.
Well, you've won most of your fights by knockout, right?
Yeah.
How many knockouts I got now, Steve?
I got 5 knockouts.
5 knockouts, 1 submission.
5 knockouts.
So all your fights or pro fights so far have been finishes.
Yeah, within the first 2 rounds.
And your last opponent, I believe, was 4-0, 5-0, right?
No, the last one I fought was 1-1, and the one before him was 4-0, and the one before him was 4-0.
Yeah, so and you're still within the first 10 fights. So even on your 6th fighting somebody 1-1 on a high stage like Bellator is not something I don't think to frown upon. Your first 10 kind of got to be.
Well, it's one of those things, man.
Like 4-0 is good. 4-0, 1-1. It's a mix. You're getting what you can.
It's one of those things, man, where I want that guy. No. It was like, here's the contract, here's a fighter. And it just happened to be that this guy was 1-1. I mean, the first fighter offered to me by Bellator, he was 7-0. It's like, done, got it. Let's do it. I was 4 and he was 7-0. But then he ended up backing out, and then they gave me another guy who was 4-0. All right, done. Let's do it.
Whatever.
Fought him. And then they just happened to give me this guy who was 1-1. I was like, okay, I kind of did some research on him. He had a lot of publicity. He had a good backstory. I'm like, maybe there's something I'm missing. I mean, he was 1-0. Then got into Bellator right away, and then he had a hard fight against a tough dude. I was like, maybe this guy's tougher than, maybe his record, and you see that sometimes where guys' records are like, they're close and like 500, but those guys are still tough as nails. They just had a couple bad beats or just a couple of bad moments.
I had a guy who was 6-0, then he lost one, 6-1, then he fought a guy who was 0-0. that guy who's 0-0 beat his ass. And that guy's name is David Branch, who was the 0-0 guy.
Yeah.
So, like, he got submitted within the first round by David Branch, and he was 6-1, highly touted. UFC
Well, that
was
0-0 guy could be a black belt.
I think he was.
At a black belt in judo, could have, military background. He
could have fights you don't know about, pancreation.
You don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know. Unless you can Google that person, get every single little bit of detail, you really don't know what these people have in their back pocket.
Like, 1-on-1, and he could wrestle for 20 years, and then
former Division I All-American.
Could have lost a close fight too.
Yeah, exactly. So you just never know what that. So that's why I don't play into records too much, especially like you said, when you're below that 10 fights. You're like, what are you going to do for this certain opponent? My buddy Eddie Escobar said the perfect thing. He's like, dude, when you're below 10 fights, especially, he's like, work on making yourself better. Don't try to be game planning for a certain individual, because that person can change and evolve for the better or whatever so drastically. There's huge improvements from 1 to 10 fights, I think, but each time you fight, depending on where you're training, how much you're training, how dedicated to it, you can really make big steps in your game.
Oh, absolutely. I remember when I first started, after like my third fight, I would say, all right, now I'm going to work on arm bars and triangles for the next fight. So I got this in the bag. And then when I did, I'm like, all right, I'm going to work some chokes. I'm going to work leg locks. Every fight, I kind of make a new plan, what to get better on. And
you got to do that. You absolutely got to do that. You have to internally look at yourself, like, what is my game missing? And that's why after my last fight, and just practicing with you most of all, is that I'm like, I got to do jiu-jitsu more. I gotta do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. And I gotta do gi, I gotta do no gi. I just gotta be on the mat, and I gotta roll. And I gotta figure out more moves. I gotta figure out what stuff to add to my game and get more fundamentally sound.
And that's gonna be the best thing you can do for yourself.
You just gotta do it, and you just gotta take that leap. Like, you know what? I don't have a fight scheduled right now. What do I need to work on? I'm like, I gotta work on my grappling. I gotta do it. So I just dedicated like 8 weeks to just doing jiu-jitsu.
Nice.
That's all I did. And you saw me. We were at the gym, and like everyone was like, "Look at me, like, Steve, you're not staying for
pro practice."
You're not staying for pro practice. I went, nope, I'm just doing jiu-jitsu for a while.
Yeah.
Just doing jiu-jitsu, and I see it. Not with you, because you're a jerk, but I see it a lot with other people. Like, I'm making more fundamental corrections, and it's just gonna keep getting better. It's like I just had to build that part of my game. Which talk about a video game, like building your rating up. I had to build my rating up in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I just had to, and it's something that I hope to surprise people with. Like, it's just one of those things. You want to be...
Well, hopefully the people don't listen to this. Well, I hope they do. But if we're going to surprise them, they can't listen. It doesn't
matter.
Now they're not going to be surprised when they hear you.
Man, like, I want you to have no good options. I just don't want, like, man, like, if I standing, like, he's going to knock me out. If I take him to the ground, he's going to sweep and submit me or something. Like, like, every fighter wants that. Like, no matter what, you're done. And that's always the goal, is just getting 1% better each and every day in something. Striking, wrestling, grappling, mental preparation, nutrition, strength and conditioning. Those are all things that need to be accounted for. And if you're not looking at those things on a daily basis and finding out how to improve 1% better in at least one of those things, then you're not going to make it, man, because there's just too many. There's hungry people out there. There's people that are willing to learn and educate themselves, who are just obsessed for knowledge. And I think that's how I like to describe myself. Like, I'm obsessed for knowledge. I just want to learn as much as I can. Like, if it comes between like working and getting an hour extra of work, or learning another thing, like spending money on a seminar, I'm gonna do this one. My wife doesn't like it, but I do it. But it's just something it's gonna add to my game right away. So something I'm gonna be using that it's gonna pay off in the end. You gotta invest in yourself and invest in that knowledge. If you're coming out of practice and you didn't learn something new, then why did you go to practice today? Like, what was it? Just to break a sweat? Like, no, man. You gotta learn. You gotta keep growing and evolving. Otherwise, you're gonna get caught up. Somebody who wasn't as good as you is gonna catch you, and then you're not gonna catch that guy who's better than you at that. It's just what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now you're speaking. You said your wife is gonna get mad. You just recently got married.
Just recently got married. Ring is on.
The ring is on.
Ring is on. It ain't ever coming off. Oh, man. I don't know. I know you don't know this, but when you first put a ring on, your worst fear is losing that ring. Okay. And
do you wear it in practice?
No. I definitely pop it off and put it on my keys right away because I've seen like pictures of guys like they have their rings on too tight and like their skin like rips off. I'm messing with it. Or if you like break your finger and your ring's still on. I mean, this is like.
But then it stays on.
I mean, you have to either cut your finger off or cut the ring off some sort of way. If you break your finger and it's so I pop that off before any type of practice just so I don't. But yeah, man, like your worst fear is a new husband too, especially with a wife with some attitude, you know, which if she were to see you without that ring, like you're dead. And I remember before I have this thing, I still got to get over it. It's like I was getting ready for work and I had to like gel my hair and I took my ring off. I set it on the kitchen counter and I was like gelling my hair and I was like, oh man, I gotta run for work. And then I was driving and then halfway like to work, I like looked at my friend, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot my ring. I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna be late for work. I just flipped a Yui right away because again, I'm only a couple weeks into being married. And if my wife comes home and sees my ring on the counter, I am so dead. So I just darted back home and I go back and I go into the bathroom where I left it and I'm like, my ring's not there. It wasn't where I left it. I was freaking out, and like there were some people like working on the house. I'm like, when these fuckers steal my ring, I'm like, who am I about to beat up? But no, actually, my mother-in-law like found it and like put it in my like snuck it into my dresser and was like, here it is. And I was like, oh.
Don't tell your daughter.
And she did.
Oh God.
She did though. So I came home. My wife didn't give me too much shit about it, but she made sure to give me a little bit of shit. She's like, just keep your ring on. I'm like, okay, sorry, babe.
And she was pregnant at the time, right?
Oh yeah. So she was a good 7 months pregnant at this time. So, yeah, that was.
Wait, so she was 7 months pregnant when you were losing the ring, but when how much pregnant was she when you got married?
Oh man, I mean, we just got married October 23rd, and it's what November.
So like 6 months.
No, it's like she was about 6 months pregnant. Yeah, when we got married.
Shotgun wedding.
Oh, if you want to, I mean, we try not to call it that, but it kind of ended up being like that. I mean, we're being honest about it. It's just kind of how it went, man. I mean, 4 months into meeting each other, she moved in with my roommate and I. 5 months after that, she's pregnant. A month or two after that, we're engaged. 5 months after, like 3 or 4 months after that, like we're married, and you know now our kid's coming, or he's due in 3 weeks. But it's
like not even been, it's just been a year.
I mean, I've known her for a year and a half. Like that's the crazy part. But at the same time, though, it's so cool, man. It's so awesome because my previous relationship, I dated that chick for 5.5 years, high school, all throughout college, and it didn't work out. Now it's like,
do you feel like you wasted it a little bit dating that girl so long?
No, man, because I'm just like, I would like to think I'm a good player, that I could play the game, I could work it, but I can't. I mean, I had my options, man. I mean, when we broke up, like I was still I was back in my hometown because I just graduated college. I was like, I'm gonna run the table on here. No, and then I moved out to California. Like I'm gonna pursue this dream. I'm gonna run the table out of California. Didn't happen. Even at my old gym, I had a nickname. True story. It was called Captain No Game. Captain No Game. And that thing stuck in my gym because, I mean, it was one of those things like I'd be going out with girls and they'd be saying these things like, I'm thirsty for you. Like, true story, this chick
really
like was working at the gym, a yoga instructor, and we were out one night. She said, I'm thirsty for you. I'm like, well, that's cool. I don't know what that really means, but like, I'm going to go with it. And yeah, that same night, we're drinking, we're having a good time. We end up, me and this is my best man, like Eddie, he brought a girl for her, so we're kind of like almost like double dating at night on the town. She invites us back up to her apartment, just giving us a drink, trying to show us around. She's getting comfortable, and my dumbass was like, "Okay, well, I gotta wake up really early in the morning to work out and train because training was my life. Like I got to wake up in the morning to train." I get in the car with my buddy. He goes, "Dude, what the hell is your problem?" She was throwing herself. I'm like, "Huh? Like what did I miss?" Oh my god, it was just terrible.
You're like, she was just really dehydrated. She was talking about being thirsty the whole time.
I mean, multiple times, like my friends are just like, "What is your problem?" I know I'm not a player, man. I've always been kind of like just a good relationship dude, and that's
good old wholesome Steve.
Yeah, man. You know what? Sometimes it's just for some people, and it's for me, man. Like the married life,
That's awesome.
This single life just didn't pan out for me. Like you always picture, like, because whenever like you're in a long relationship, you're just like, man, if I was single, I'd be running through these girls. I'd be stacking my numbers, bop, 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 bop. I'd be getting, and then it actually happens and it's go time. You're like,
what do I say to them?
Oh, dude, it was
Were you awkward
It was
too?
prime years. I mean, I missed my prime years, my junior, senior, high school, and all throughout college. Those are your prime, years where you're just going to town.
No, we're guys, dude. We get better by age.
Oh yeah,
Guys get better by age. You see those 30, 40-year-old girls, guys dating like 18-year-old girls, 21-year-old girls.
Oh yeah, because that's the women's prime is later on.
The women are prime like that, and then we kind of catch up when we're like we're good like till about like our 50s, then we fall off hard.
My wife says I'm going to be normal by my 50s because I'm crazy. I'm
so
crazy.
young.
I'm crazy right now. I have too much testosterone built up in me.
Do you?
I try. Oh, even when she's pregnant, I try to go after her all the time.
Do you?
She's like 8 months pregnant. I'm just like, She's like, what? I'm like, oh yeah. I go after my wife all the time, and she always makes sure she's like, maybe when you're 50, when other guys are taking Viagra, you're actually be freaking normal because you're just too much.
I hear when they hit 40, they go nuts.
I know. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be like when she's drunk, but it's gonna be like all the time.
Do you feel a sex drive drop off when you're in fight camp?
Drive off my fight camp?
I notice when I'm in fight camp, like when I'm training all the time and everything, I'm like, I just have no sex drive then.
No, dude, I always.
You always do.
I always do,
Steve's more of a stallion than
dude.
me.
I'm all about it all the time, man. Hey, you gotta take your.
I mean, I won't say no to it, but like, I'm like, I'm just gonna go home.
Dude, I
and
push for
sleep.
it. I mean, I do push for it all the time. I really am. I mean,
So-
every time I sneak a feel all the time. It's
All
just-
the feel?
all the time. All the time. I mean, first thing, like I'll get home from work, it's just like I always pop. I always try to grab. It's just the way I am.
Yeah.
Whisper something, little, just whisper something.
I'm the same way. If you're my girlfriend, I will always put my hands on your tits.
Oh yeah.
Throughout the like.
Oh, she catches me staring all the time.
Just like
all the time, and she like always like looks at me. I'm like what? They're staring at me. Like
they're sitting
whatever.
there looking all
Especially
good.
now, like she's 8 months pregnant. They're.
I hear you can't play with them now because they like hurt.
That's when the milk comes. The milk isn't come. They're just like pregnancy boobs, so they're just like out there. And
I'm gonna tell you something. Try the milk.
Try the milk.
Try the milk.
I am.
It's
Totally
good.
am. When my friends came back from, I had a couple of my college friends from Illinois come in for my wedding, and they're like, "Dude, like when she's breastfeeding, you're gonna try the milk?" I'm like, "Of course I'm gonna try the milk. Like that's a once in a lifetime opportunity."
It tastes like coffee cream. We had this pregnant girl I used to work with, and then she was like messing around. She's like, "Yeah, what if I bought some milk in? Would you try it?" And he was like, "No." I'm like,
Just
"Yeah,
some random
some girl I worked with." I was like, "Yeah, I'd try it."
I wouldn't do some random. I would
And
definitely
then,
like it's definitely like my wife, so it's okay.
No,
so I'll be okay.
I'm a random milk trier.
Wow. That's a new level.
She gave me
That's
a
new
little
level.
bit. I tested it and I fucking loved it. It was awesome. And then now, like,
Doesn't it have like HGH in it?
she would go pump, and then like when she would bring me a coffee and use her breast milk as the creamer, I was like, "Is this a special coffee?" She's like, "Oh, you know."
Oh my god, that's crazy. No, I don't think I could ever do that. But I need to take. I mean, one time when no one's looking and the doors are closed, I'm just take a little swig and.
You got to go straight from the other, the source.
Just one of those, like a little shot of it, just to know what my boy.
The problem is though, once you get into like breast milk, you're gonna have that problem that you're always gonna crave it then. that thirst.
I hope not.
That'd
That'd be a weird thing to just like sit down with my wife and like I'm addicted to your breast milk. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to.
We are gonna have to put another baby.
We're gonna have to just keep this going.
I need to keep this thirst that I can't quench with almond milk or regular milk.
Well, because like when they stop breastfeeding, like they just can't pump anymore. They have to like dry out.
Yeah, like dust comes out.
They can't stop, so they're like boobs get like super filled with like milk and it like hurts like hell. But in order for the milk to stop producing, they have to just not pump it, because if they keep on pumping, it's just going to keep on producing.
Keeps going.
It just keeps going. It doesn't stop.
Nice.
So it'd be a really weird conversation to sit down with my wife and be like, "Hey, you can just keep. I know you don't want to breastfeed our son anymore, but just keep it going. You know."
You make some hell of a milk, sweetheart, and that's a compliment.
Yeah,
that's a compliment.
that's a compliment. Like, yeah, it does it for me. Oh, for sure. I mean, I just don't want that.
So you don't know. So you got about a month left of pregnancy.
Like 3 weeks from Friday.
3 weeks from
3 weeks from Friday is when he's due. But I mean, every person that sees her is like, she ain't making it past Thanksgiving. I'm like, oh man, like. But you know, our teammate Alexis. She was due on Halloween, and I just saw her today. I'm like,
she's a blimp.
You're still pregnant? Like I was kind of like fascinated. Like, it's been 3 weeks. Why are you still pregnant? Because our doctor was like, we're gonna get that thing out of you if you're over a week or so.
Yeah, she's like 2 weeks over.
Yeah,
and now she looks like a planet.
No, I mean, plus they're just too uncomfortable. They just need to get that thing out of there. So
yeah, I know.
I just want to wait till December. I talked to him. Just hang out till December, dude. Like, give me my sleep for the month of November. I realize that sleep is going to be taken away from me. Just give me all of November just to, milk it as long as I can.
Are you going to take some time off once you have... I know you're taking some time off now, but are you going to take a month or two off to get a fight, or...
I mean, as far as, like, because I have a regular job as well, like, I'm definitely taking a week off of... pretty much from everything. It's just going to be like a rest week where... I mean, I cannot not train. I'll go psycho. So I know there's definitely going to be some type of training involved in that week off of actual like work, but I mean I know I have to definitely get adjusted to being a father and all the
maybe just do like a little jujitsu.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep it just keep it chill. But maybe that could change too, man. I mean, you have a game plan going in, but maybe I'm just so involved in being a dad that I just need to get
or
this
you're
down.
just doing errands like go get me food, get me, because she's gonna be in the hospital.
Or you're just so exhausted because your body's gonna have to adjust to getting up all the time to feed him or do whatever with him.
Have you been putting on any daddy weight? No, you haven't.
I'm the leanest I've ever been, man. You saw me, I was 167.
I know. I'm so jealous. Today. Yeah, I'm like 180.
See, that's why I'm dropping down to 45 because these lightweights are getting too freaking big, man. I don't even know how you.
We're the same size, Steve.
No, we're not.
We are the same size.
No, we fight at the same weight, but we are not the same size by any means. Okay, that's a lie. That is a lie.
Well, if you don't come to practice, then I got to go with Sean or Sam. And like that's like a huge jump for me.
Yeah, that's a huge difference.
That is a huge difference because I'll go with Sam and then I'll go with you, and I'm like, you're like.
No, you're a bully. You just love beating up on me.
No, you're such a talented lightweight.
Yeah.
Hey, you know who I hear's in town? Bobby Green.
Oh, really?
I heard he moved to San Jacinto.
No way. From where's he? Is he from back east?
No, Bobby Green is from somewhere in California, from what I understand.
Okay,
but
he's a good striker.
We need to go get on him. Bobby Green, if you're out there, we're gonna come find you.
Come on down, man.
And steal you to our gym.
Dude, he had a good fight against Edson.
Didn't he beat Edson Barboza?
No, I don't think he beat him.
I thought he did.
No,
I thought he did. He just outmoved him.
No, he didn't beat him.
Or was real close.
I'm 98% sure he did not beat him. I mean, Edson's just one of those crazy. Again, like those other two guys, they're huge for the weight class, but that was an entertaining fight, man. I mean, they were just back and forth striking, just very creative. They're using their kicks, punches, knees, elbows, like using everything in the game. And I know Bobby was just trying to, walking out, like talk to him, kind of getting his head.
Doing this. That's right. I remember the fight.
Well, I mean, what do you think about as far as like that? I mean, we see this a lot with Ronda, with Conor, with other people, like as far as like talking in the cage, in and out of the cage. I mean, there definitely is a mental aspect to it, whether it's your preparation going in, how you're talking to yourself, or even how you can get your opponent to start thinking about themselves and get them off their game. I mean, what's your take on that?
I've never really talked in my fights. All I wanted to do is just get to that finish.
That's all I think. I don't have time to talk. I'm trying to finish fights. Oh, I just can't think of anything good to say. I just can't think of anything.
What would you say? Like
I don't know, because like I'm not an intimidating person. I'm just I'm an undersized lightweight white boy. Like that's just happy. Like I don't have like a good stare down face. Like I just wouldn't know what I would say.
When I get in for the weigh-ins and you do the fight pose, I always ask every opponent if they come here often. And we're staring at each other. I'm like, you come here often?
Every time?
Every time. Kurt Southern always had the best answer since we fought twice. He always said to me, he's like, I don't really like the music. That's good stuff right there.
I don't know, man. I mean, I remember when before I got to Bellator, before my first Bellator fight, I was thinking about, I was talking to my friends about it, like, you see like how Chael became more popular with his talking, and obviously the main ones, Conor and Ronda, with their talking, just how they're elevating the game with, just the words and just the intensity behind it. I was like, should I start doing that? Should I start like calling people out and just starting these Twitter battles and doing all that? And one of my buddy, put it correct. He's like, dude, it's just not for you, man. It's just not. It doesn't come off natural, and it really does. It doesn't come off natural for me to talk shit to someone. I mean, if it came off natural and flowed good, I could be funny, creative, and really start messing with them. Maybe I would do it, but it's really just not something that I know I could do well.
You gotta, what they kind of tell you is you gotta kind of be true to yourself and then just kind of amplify it. If you're look at Sam, he's always smiling, he's happy. That's kind of his niche, and he's always making jokes. I'm not much of a trash talker. I'm more of a jokester myself. I like to always make jokes and be funny. So that's kind of like the niche I try to do. I don't try to be something I'm not. Just gotta find a way to let your personality shine and not.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm really just about that. Like, I'm very strict on just do what you're gonna do and do what you say you're gonna do. If you say you're gonna show up on this day, fight this person at this weight, show up that day, show up on weight, and make sure you're fighting.
Yeah. I
mean, it's one of my biggest things. Like, people missing weight. You signed a contract to make that weight. You can't do it, then don't do it. That kind of always irks me a little bit. And everything else, man, it's just like smoke and mirrors, man. It's just like, just go in, put in the work, and do what you need to do. I mean, the only thing is, like, what I take it from football, and a lot of my friends from football, is, man, like, they're just that type of person. My buddy Jeff Rowan's the best example of this. They put on that helmet, they're just a different person. They're fierce, they're intense, but you take them off, like, big smile. Super nice people. And I always kind of be like that, because my thing is this. My thing is, I'm not going to go forehead to forehead with you at the weigh-ins. I'm not going to talk trash. I do have a whole, when I'm staring at you during stare downs, I won't. I really do my best to not blink. I'm looking at you in the eyes.
Me too.
I'm always I'm looking you in the eyes, and I'm not blinking. It's very, it's an intense thing, but as soon as I say, okay, done, like, I'll shake your hand.
I'll smile the whole time.
Yeah, I mean,
but I will
sometimes
look
I'll
dead
crack a
in your
smile
eyes.
too, but
Dead in your eyes. I smile because I like fighting.
But when I'm in the cage too, whether I'm the first one or the last one, I mean, I do my, thing, my cues when I, walk around the cage, slap the mat, but as soon as I'm in there, I don't take my eyes off them the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
That's just my thing. I mean, you see guys like Jose, like, they put their head down because they just don't care, whatever, like you said, whatever works for you. My thing is,
some guys turn their back.
Yeah. Well, I like to see the people who flinch a little bit, who are who kind of like put their head down. I like saying that. They give me an intense stare right back. It's not gonna like mess with me. I'm just like, okay, like you're probably game for right now.
Yeah.
But your game can change as soon as I hit you in the face.
Yeah.
But then you see like other people. Who see that look and they just drop from it, and I love seeing that personally. It's just It's like,
I'm like, I never break that eye.
You can kind of just read that energy off of people. Like, I'm gonna come after you right now, and I'm gonna whoop you. At least that's the thing going in. Could that change? Absolutely. But it is definitely a boost of confidence when you're in there and you're staring somebody down. That's just your thing. You're gonna stare at them. You're gonna wait for them to look down or just break in some sort of way.
Do you say anything to yourself before while you're in the cage?
It depends on who it is. I mean, my first fight in Bellator is this guy, Jonathan Rivera, and I was the first one walking in. So I walked in and I saw him at weigh-ins. He was a little bit taller than me, but really like lengthy and skinny. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm a little bit buffer, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Just try to say something.
We're all big guys in our head,
right? So, but when he got into the cage, I was like, fuck, he's big. Like, he just blew up. Like, he had to have been 175, 180 walking into that cage the next day.
He just filled right back.
Yeah, like, he just filled right back up. And I remember my whole family, like, was like, holy shit. Like, he just looked huge. And, I mean, that's the first thing when I saw him. I mean, again, I'm out of eye, like, locking out in my head. The first thing I said was like, fuck, he's big. I was like, that's really why I said, like, fuck, he's big.
I just say to myself, when that bell rings, it's on. When that bell rings, it's on. I just repeat that to myself.
Yeah, that's a good cue. I like that.
That's just my cue, and that just kind of. And you know what's funny? Every time that bell rang, it's always been on.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm lying to myself.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes it's just like getting through all the other BS of getting your hands wrapped, warming up, walking in there. Like, sometimes you just got to get to that point where they say go. So it's just like practice again. Because the really thing that could psych you out if you let it is the build up and the anticipation.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that messes with people most, is just that build up and that anticipation.
The butterflies.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta be able to control that, man. That's why I think, that, again, like we're talking about that, improving everywhere. You gotta incorporate that mentality, man. You gotta incorporate that confidence. Could that be a borderline cocky? Sure, depending on who you are. Yeah. But you gotta build that confidence. You gotta believe in yourself, man. You gotta. Otherwise, you're just not gonna last in there. At least not long. At least when you go up against another tough person. But again, the same thing with that Riviera fight, man. He was big, but you know what? It's like I'm here anyway. Like, it's gonna go down regardless. And
I believe that was the first time we met too.
I believe so.
Well, I came back from surgery, and Fernando fought on that card, right?
Yeah, Fernando fought on that card.
That's
Virgil,
right.
Chris Herrera fought on that card as
Chris
well.
Herrera.
We had four people on there. We won all four of those too.
Was AJ on that card too?
No, that was the May one.
That
was the May card. And instead of Chris fighting, AJ won, and then Virgil and Fernando and myself fought on that card again too.
Yes.
And that one we went 3-1.
Yes, that was when we actually got a chance to train together.
Yeah, no, that was awesome, man. That was a good time. What was really nice about both those training camps is that everyone had something going on for the most part. Fernando was getting ready. Virgil, we had several people fighting for Bama.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we had, Brandon, Anthony, Ashley, like they were all fighting for Bama too, like right around like the same month. Dan was getting ready for another year.
I think I was getting ready for the show.
Yeah, you were getting ready for the show. So we had a killer practice room, man. It was intense, man. I remember like for those camps, we had a lot of people showing up all the time, and it was an intense camp, which is always nice, man. We had Luke Rockhold came in the week of the Bellator fight in January.
That's right. Yeah, Luke did come in.
Yeah, he came. What was cool? That was so awesome for me because I like Luke Rockhold. He's a good dude. He's very talented.
He's good people.
Yeah, no, he's a very cool dude. I remember it was Tuesday practice, so small gloves, no shin guards or nothing. And I'm fighting Friday, so I'm just coming in there really breaking a sweat, and not trying to do anything intense. But at the end when we're doing our rounds, our MMA rounds, Luke calls me over and says, "Steve, come here." And I'm like, well, I'm not going to say no. So I sparred Luke Rockhold for a round.
Nice.
And then I think Isaiah yelled at me. He's like, "What, Steve, you're fighting on Friday. Like, don't be sparring Luke Rockhold." I'm like, "It's Luke Rockhold. What are you, what am I going to say? No." Like, of course I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to get a picture with him. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to slightly exaggerate how well I did. Of course I'm going to do that.
How handsome is he in real life?
Dude, he's more handsome than he is in the pictures, man.
I know.
Stupid. Dude, but after that fight, though, like a lady, kind of saw us because I was talking to Luke after my fight. He was there ringside, so I was talking to him, and then some lady that came up. "Can I take a picture of both of you?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get in this." And then I was like, "Damn, I'm looking super ugly next to this guy right now."
I know. He really he is a.
No, I hate those guys, man. I talk about it all the time. I don't like people who fight at a certain level and who also look really good.
Yes.
You can't have that. You need to be like, if you look this good, you should only be able to fight this well. Or opposite. I don't like people who are up here. If you're too pretty and you do too good fighting, I do not like you.
Yes, and your parents have a good marriage, and you're successful in other things you do.
Like Sage Norcut?
Yeah, fuck.
Right?
Right?
Oh, man.
You know what?
Dude,
that's a fight I want. That is my personal fight I want.
I think any lightweight in the world who fights should want that fight.
Yeah, well,
I'm not hating on Sage. I'm not even gonna pretend like I know this dude or his background. Yeah, he's a totally respectful dude. Like, I have nothing against him from any personal perspective, except that I don't like how big he got, how quick, and how young, and all this stuff. And he's he's one of those guys, man. He's like, Luke, he looks good. He's physically fit, and the UFC's gonna build him up.
Oh yeah. He's fit. He can do a backflip. He's successful. He's getting paid already more than I do, and I've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah, don't you just hate that?
Oh, I hate it probably 10 times as much.
Oh yeah, I hate it. I'm only 6 fights in. Someone who's a vet like you have to be just like, what the fuck?
I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
But it is what it is, dude.
He probably banging really hot chicks too, and he's like, and he could do a front flip, and I can't flip. I can't even roll forward anymore because of my vertigo. It's like.
Yeah, because dude, you got the battle scars from doing this for a long time.
I know. I'm like, let Tom Everyman in, who's still got to have a job. But
dude, it's like, but they're gonna. But of course they're gonna invest in it. Why wouldn't you? Especially when these investments come through, like Paige Van Zandt. Man, I didn't think she was gonna beat Felice, but she did very well against Felice. She beat Felice up, and then who she beat after she beat Felice? Paige. I don't know, but she dominated her, and then I think she submitted her.
Or was Felice her last win?
No. There's somebody after Felice Herring. I can't remember. But again, Paige whooped on her, and now I think she's in main event against
Rose now.
Yeah, against Rose now.
She's a looker too, Rose.
Oh yeah. She shaved her head though.
Yeah, what's that all about?
I don't know. My ex shaved her head once.
Did she?
She really did. It was not okay. Well, because she had nice like long hair, and then I just graduated college, and then I went out to Las Vegas to do an internship. So she actually came with me for like 2 weeks, and then she left. I had 6 weeks left in Vegas doing this internship, and she was just back in Illinois, and she decided like to just cut her hair amazingly short. And at first it wasn't the complete buzz. It was just like short around here, then like flipped, which I was like, ugh.
She did the side buzz?
Yeah. Like
some girls can pull it off.
I didn't like it.
She didn't know.
I mean, she didn't like it. Like, I don't mean to be basher, but like, I just didn't like it. It just wasn't my thing. I like traditional looking. And then I come back, and then I mean, she did the whole buzz thing, but she did it for a good cause. Like her grandma, was going through cancer, and I had to do that whole thing. So I totally get it, and I totally supported it at the time.
But you totally hated it.
But I totally wasn't about it though. I was like,
I had my last
grow fast. Like I didn't want to be the asshole that said something bad because you shaved your head. Like, I mean, if you're doing it for a good cause, like by all means, like I mean, you're your own person, do your own thing. But I personally don't. Like, I love girls with like long hair.
My ex had to have the shaves.
Did she? Did she pull it off well?
She actually did. She pulled it off well. Not many girls could have. I don't know if you met her. She worked the front desk at her gym. The Asian girl.
I don't know. I'm terrible with people, dude. I'm terrible with faces. I'm just really bad about it.
Yeah,
I'm just really bad about it.
Well, spoiler alert, she turned out to be a piece of shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, dude, I dated her for 6 months. Like, she was my girlfriend, and she had another boyfriend for 2 years.
Oh, you were the side guy?
I was the side guy. Yeah, I was.
You were the side guy? Oh, man.
And I didn't even know it.
How does that feel? Do you feel like I mean, it's one of those things. It's always a weird situation. Like she's been cheating. I mean, you're the guy that she's cheating with. But you feel like, no, you're my girlfriend, so you cheated on me when, like, there's like a whole, like, weird triangle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you know what's the
worst? How's that feel? You're like, you're that guy. Like, you're the guy that she just,
The worst part was, I was happy. I was happy, and we had a good relationship. I thought.
Oh, so you thought. You thought you were the one guy. I don't know, man. Like, I just see people out in this world. Like, I mean, personally, no offense to all you single dudes out there, but I'm glad to be done, man. I got a good lady, good family. And we talk about it all the time, man. We talk about it all the time, like how people just can be so deceiving and just lying and everything like that. It's like, oh, man, like, I couldn't do it. Like, I can't do it. I know for a fact I can't do it. Because, true story, my ex was with her for 4.5 years, completely clean slate, didn't do anything. And one night I got super drunk, okay, but that's not an excuse, but I'm just gonna point it out there anyway. Got super drunk in downtown, my hometown, was out with my best friend and his older sister, who I'd known for a while, and I ended up like hooking up with her. Like we didn't like sleep together, but we ended up like just like kissing and groping. But after, I felt so terrible after. Like I woke up the next day. I totally realized what I did was like crying. I called my mom. I was like crying. I go home and I'm just crying hysterically.
Did you tell her?
Oh yeah, I mean, she knew like something was up right away because she like called me that morning and I was like totally like I was just a piece of shit. Like I felt like a piece of shit and. I called my dad over. So my parents are split. That was a pretty messed up.
Mine too.
So I called my dad over because if someone's going to convince me to not tell her and just to brush this off, it's going to be my dad.
Because deep in your head knows that like maybe I shouldn't tell her. Maybe this will blow all over if I just.
But I knew. I honestly, like, I knew in the back of my head that wasn't an option. But I tried to make it an option. My mom's always a very good like you gotta be honest. You gotta tell her. You gotta do this. While my dad can be a little bit of, like work around the edges type of thing. So I called my dad over and it actually proved me. He's like, did you sleep with her? I was like, no. He's like, then what the hell? Like,
what the hell?
He didn't care. He didn't care at all.
He was like, why didn't you sleep with her, son? Was she hot?
Like, he did not. Yeah, but no, I ended up caving in and telling her right away. Because I have a conscience. Like, I couldn't do it.
Steve, you're a stand-up guy.
Dude, I couldn't do it. I mean, she ended up forgiving me, and we were together for like another year after that. But you know what though, like looking back on it now, it's just like with anything, man. Like when you go through those hard times, like those just bad moments, if you can come out of that learning as a person for something better, then that's a perfect case. Because like now, like I know what it's like to be the asshole, to make these mistakes, and I know what it's like being too drunk where your emotions are numbed and all that shit. And so now I know I'm not gonna make the mistake as a married man. You know, so it's like, you know what? Lesson learned. It had to happen, and it was the worst thing at the time.
Better with the practice girl.
Yeah, I thought the practice girl was the girl, but I was very, very wrong. But now, like, you know, my wife now, it's like you already make that decision in your head, and then now, like, honestly, there's like, you just really just stop caring about other chicks. You really do, man.
That's awesome.
No, like that's how you know.
It's a nice relief to be off the market,
right? Well, it's just like it's game over, man. I mean, dude, my chick is awesome, man. She just came in 4 months. Moved in 5 months after that, pregnant, ring on the finger. Like she knew what she wanted, and she got it right away. And I was like, and then like I'm just sitting here like married. But it's awesome. I'm so happy about it. Though. Like I'm so pumped, man. She's a cool chick. I hope. Did you ever get a chance to meet her? I brought her by the gym once.
Maybe at one of your fights.
I brought her by the gym one time. She's kind of wanted to see like everything. Yeah, because she seen me do like jujitsu, which she liked. I mean, she's actually like really. She loves fighting. Really? That's how I know she loves, like, who's fighting this weekend. She'll tell me who's fighting it. And she has, like, you know, she's a big fan of Ronda. She's a big fan of Paige. And she's crazy about the San Diego Chargers. Like, she's, like, crazy for sports. I'm like, I like you. And this is how you know.
Besides the Chargers.
Yeah, well, this is how you know that you have the right girl. When she looks at your cauliflower, it's like, it needs to get bigger. Like it needs to get bigger, and you need to get the other ear. I was like, I like you, and that's what she tells me all the time. Like she like punched me in the ear once. It's like the hell. She's like, your ear's going down. Like you need to like just hit me in the ear.
And you met her at a brewery, right?
Yeah, I met her at like Belgian Beer Brewery. Like what happened was like I was working at another gym in Oceanside as a strength and conditioning coach, and this girl Maddie who took my class on a regular basis. You know, she was married, husband's in the Marines, and she was a cool chick like my age. And I'm like, yeah, like I'd love to meet your husband, and you know, just grab a beer. I was still like meeting people. I was only living out here for like a year. So like one Friday, I'm teaching class. I know she's not in class, and she texts me like during class. She's like, well, what are you doing tonight? And my first thing is like I gave her shit. Like, well, first of all, why aren't you here? Why aren't you here? You're lazy. Like, just like, getting all over it. Okay. And she's like, would you like to have, a beer with my husband at Belching Beaver? I was like, yeah, for sure. Totally didn't know that another person would be joining us. But she set her up too. And she was trying to set her up, and she actually tried to set us up beforehand. Like she showed like a picture, like, oh, like this is my trainer, like what do you think? But she was like totally against guys at the time, like, yeah, I don't want to meet him, like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So I mean, I just show up there and another girl's there. And I'm like, okay, like whatever. Like I noticed right away she was attractive, but I wasn't trying to do it. I was like, I was already a captain, no game. I already knew that.
You were ready just to defeat him.
I already had that defeated personality. I'm like, she's blonde, like she got good curves. I'm like,
she probably
no chance. I just said no chance. So
no chance. She's gonna hit me with lingo that I don't understand.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, I'm not even gonna waste my time. So I just like I talked to her friend the whole time. I just talked to Maddie. But there was a point where like, you want to get sushi? Like they're like, how sometimes they have like those trucks out there just delivering food. So like I bought her sushi, and like we ended up.
You ended up having a kid. And
one thing led to another, and then what's funny though about guys in Midwest, and this is probably East Coast too. At least I mean, I like to think of myself as a pretty classy guy.
Yes, me too.
I like to think of myself as a pretty classy guy. Like opening doors, paying for meals. When you sleep with a woman, she can stay, like not just like kick her out. But apparently in California, that's a whole new thing. So, I mean, truth be told, after the whole Belgian Beaver thing, all four of us went to my place. We ended up snuggling. Her friends left, asked her if she wanted to go. She said no, and I said, got it. I was like, yes, I got it. So I'm like, well, she said she's going to say, I got to make a move. So I do. One thing leads to another. And in her mind, she's like, okay, now I get out of here. This is my time to leave. Like I was her first one night stand, and in her mind, she was like, okay, now is my time to leave. Whereas like I'm a class, like I'm not just gonna freaking kick you out. Like it's not like you're just like I didn't pay for you, so I'm not like, well, your job is done, you can leave. So I was like, no, stay. She was kind of like freaked out for a little bit, like talking to her about this now, like being married and everything like that. That's funny. Yeah, and then no, you don't have to leave, like stay. And she's like, okay, it's kind of weird. Like 3-4 hours later, I can wake her up again.
Yeah,
Round two. And then she's like, okay, I'm definitely gonna leave. Okay, like you want to take me to my car? I would have to drive her to her car because I was just living in some crappy apartment. We didn't even have parking like in the complex. You'd like turn across the street by the freaking gas station.
The pilgrimage.
And I was like, no, you're good. You know, again, I'm in my head, I'm being nice. I'm not kicking you out. I'm just, you're staying, I'm being polite. Where she's like, this psycho is gonna kill me. Like, I'm gonna be in his closet. Next morning, wake her up, having a kid. I'm like, okay, you are awesome. You just slept with me like 3 times in one night. I gotta make you breakfast. So I'm like, would you like to stay for breakfast? And she was like very firm. No, bring me to my car. I ended up bringing her to her car, and then it really got awkward because like I kissed her goodbye, like asked for her number, and then one thing led to another, and then I spent every day with her after that.
Oh, so you guys are like one of those everyday couples, like pretty fast.
Oh, it went from 0 to 100 overnight. Overnight.
Shit.
It's so, dude. It just happens, man. And like, it just happens like that. And everyone tells you it's gonna happen when you least expect it. And when I was single, I was saying the same things all the single guys saying, like bullshit. Like you get what you work for. You know. But no, man. It just happened, and whatever. Like it's cool. It's meant to be.
I got a story for you. Speaking of one night stands.
Nice. It's always good. The one night stands are always the best.
I ended up bringing this girl home.
Yep.
I was telling the story.
From where? Where did this originate at? Is it from a bar? Is this from like where?
It's from a bar. We went out.
Okay.
I think it was right after I won the title, so we were out.
Oh, okay. So you're feeling pretty good.
I was feeling good, but we ended.
Did you have the belt with you?
No.
No.
Really? You
can be honest. If you have the belt with you, it's okay. I would care. I've never won a title in all my MMA fights, like amateur or pro. So if I won a belt, I'd probably carry it with me to the belt.
I carried that once in Atlanta.
I'd be a tool for a night.
I was a tool for a night in Atlantic City. I took it out one night when I went to Jersey to visit.
Okay.
I took it out in Atlantic City, and let me tell you, that MSE belt was nice. So I got such special treatment.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't bring it out around here.
Classy.
Because I don't like to really be a tool and gloat, but I ended up bringing a chick home, just pulling her out of nowhere. Can't even really remember how I pulled her in. I remember
she was probably really drunk.
Yeah. Well, this is where the story comes in. I wake up and my mattress is soaked. And I go, and she's sleeping. And this was like the next morning. I'm like, mattress is soaked. I wake her up. I'm like, hey, did you pee? And now, there was a small part of me that says, I hope I didn't.
That'd be my first thing. Like,
I was like, shit. I was gonna already go with the blame her thing, but she self-incriminated herself. She said, I don't know what your mattress does.
What?
I don't know what your mattress does.
I don't know what your mattress does. What does that mean?
Why didn't you blame me? Mattresses don't just get wet out of nowhere. If you blame me, at least you have a leg to stand on.
You're wasted. You were wasted, right?
Yeah.
The girls should blame you. I mean, if you're wasted and the guys know, like, if guys gonna like black out, I mean, chicks like blame. Even if you know you're the culprit, I'm sure you can convince the guy that he did.
Yo, you could easily convince me.
I'm sure you could totally get.
Because there was doubt in my head.
I would have denied it.
But once you blame an inanimate object, your credibility is out the
guilty.
door. And the funny thing about that is, I just ordered a new mattress and it came in that day and I wasn't able to pick it up. And then the bed she ended up peeing went out in the trash the next day.
Oh,
and I got my brand new mattress. So like I was that close to.
Dude, I mean, my wife and I spent money on a new mattress when we moved. If something like that were to happen to my new mattress, I would be so pissed. I know it sounds like very like adult, like my new like when you invest like $1,000 into a mattress.
Yes.
For your, at the time, well, first of all, being athletes, like we gotta sleep on something comfortable. And on top of that, your wife is now pregnant and super motivated to get a good mattress as well. You gotta do it. And you spend more than you should on it. Because now, like, you're adults and you're gonna spend more money on things.
Well,
like
if you're gonna buy anything good, it's gonna be a mattress. You
spend
a third of your life on it.
Yeah, exactly. So, dude, if something like that went down, I'd be super, super pissed.
You'd just be hurting.
I'd be super pissed.
That just shows
I mean, I wouldn't punch her in the face, but I'd really want to punch her in the face.
Yeah. I wasn't even mad, but that doesn't stop me from putting it live on live TV.
No, sometimes you gotta just come out with those stories, just like, dude.
So
how was like the separation? Like, did you like we're just like, okay, cool, like you can leave now? Like, what happened?
It was definitely an awkward morning.
Yeah. Did you make her breakfast?
No.
No. Well,
she left.
Did you offer?
No.
What did I ask? Come on, dude. Like, we gotta show these California guys some personality. Like, okay, I know she
wasn't. She wasn't somebody I wanted to keep.
No.
She was cute.
Well, I didn't think my wife was someone I wanted to keep either. But I was just being nice about it. But no, look, I get it though.
She was keepable, worthy, and approved. But this girl, I was like, nah.
No. Just leave her off the bat. I've been there. I mean, the
peeing on my bed thing kind of made.
That's probably I'm really underestimating that. Like that's a big deal breaker. That's a big deal breaker.
She ended up leaving her keys and stuff at the house too, like or stuff at the house. So, like she had to come back and get it later that day.
Super awkward.
But luckily there was like a mutual friend I like gave it to. And she gave it. I was like,
have you seen her since?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. Does she live around here? Like, could you run into her again?
I could.
Could you?
I could.
That'd be super awkward.
It would.
What do you even say to that?
I would go, hey.
Do you have her number?
No.
If you did, that'd just be a funny
We'll just call her and get her on the horn for the show. And
I'm telling you, like, that'd be a super funny conversation. Just to, like, I would love to hear, like, hi, like, who is this? Like, I know you may or may not remember, but you totally pissed my bed when we hooked up.
Here's how it started.
But it's okay. I'm famous now. I've been on TV.
I've been on the picture box.
You can take this opportunity to get a little more Twitter followers for yourself.
Well, here's how I go. I would call her up. I'd be like, "Hey, girl's name," because I don't remember her name.
Nice.
Are you classy? Are you from another country? And she'd be like, "No, why?" Because European. On my bed.
Oh my god, so corny, but it works. Corny, but it works.
That's my favorite peeing joke. You stand next to a guy, like when you're in the urinal,
yeah.
And you go, "Hey, you from another country, bro?" No, because European.
You probably pulled that before.
Oh, all the time. They think it's hysterical, or they just think you're weird. But
nobody
wants to fight. It's either hysterical or they're like weirdo, or they don't get it.
Yeah.
They're like, "No, I'm not from Europe, you weirdo."
I don't have the courage to do that. Like I'm all eyes forward. I'm all eyes forward. I don't have the courage to talk.
What about where you tap somebody on the other shoulder and you're on this side? Do you do that one?
If I do that to anyone, it's my wife. To be honest with you, like I don't know, like I'm just not I'm not good at pranking. Like I'm totally I'm totally bad about
just
it.
Really like
I'm so like I do the point down at your shirt like, oh, you got something. I'm really good at that one. But again, I don't do it to anyone but my wife though. I think that's what happens when you get married, man. You just start instead of fucking with your friends, you fuck with your wife more often.
Oh yeah, she's like, I'm tired of hearing it.
But to a degree, my wife has a line, man, and she's not afraid to punch me. Like, I mean, not in the face necessarily, but she's not afraid to punch me hard, like in my chest, like trying to stop my heart, like type of punch. Like, no,
I'll tell you what, I'd rather a punch in the face than a body shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Body shots hurt, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you hit him by the right person, for sure. Yeah, but no, I mean, she definitely has a level of like a no cross on. She just pop. Like we were with friends like one time, and she like hit me like really hard to the point where everyone stopped and like looked at me like all concerned, like.
Do you want us to call the police?
Yeah, like. Do you like want us to say something? Like, do we say something? Do we get concerned about your relationship after this? But no, we just gotta brush it off.
No, this is just how we do. That's a functioning relationship. Like for real, that is like when you guys just could be crazy and yourselves.
Yeah, that's how you need to do it, especially when you're a fighter and your life's crazy as it is. Just
all fighters are crazy to some degree.
Absolutely.
All fighters,
even the nice ones, even the Sage Norcut's.
Something off.
Sage Norcut's crazy. To some degree, we just don't know it. Yeah. Paige Van Zant's crazy, but we just don't know it. But they just look so innocent.
I don't know if that applies to girl fighters. If all girl fighters are crazy.
Really?
Because like some do. I don't think any in the UFC, but some do it just for the attention. There's definitely some who fight for the attention.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Like more on the local scene, you won't see them really in the UFC.
Oh yeah, for sure. You definitely see people just fighting to say that they're a professional athlete or fighting to say that they're a cage fighter. But that's how you know. I mean, but for guys like people on our team, we just look right through those people right away. Like my thing is this: if you're gonna claim to be a professional fighter, a professional athlete, show me your license.
Ooh.
Like show me it. Like I mean I don't know. Like if you're okay, let me change that because you can. I think there's still people who are built up like on those casino shows, especially out here like those recreations. Yeah, I truly believe you can totally be built up off of those and you can start making something. I'm not saying that, but when you've only done one or two that are split apart within like 6 months, a year, 2 years between. No, you are not a professional fighter. You're just a dude who fought once.
I got a buddy who will. He's not a fighter, but if anybody, he's a huge fight fan. If anybody starts talking about fighting, be like, "Oh yeah, what's your name?" They just whips out his phone and Shirt Dogs him right there. He's like, "Oh no, you don't fight."
Yeah.
It's like you'd be on Shirt Dog if you fought.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he loves clowning people.
Yeah.
He loves that, and he loves going to famous fighters on Twitter and trolling them. And like getting a response out of it.
Well, I mean, how does it make you feel like when you get these guys who, I mean, I get this more in my hometown and everything where Illinois is just not known like California, Vegas,
right.
Everything is for fighting. So guys will be like, I'm a pro fighter, I'm a badass, I'm this, I'm that. But once you've been involved in it, when you've seen real fighters and you've been around like real shows and seen them, it's like it's just one of those things. Like I'm not gonna call you out to your face or anything like that. I'll talk shit behind your back.
Yeah.
I'll totally talk shit behind your back, and I'll invite you to train. I'll always invite that person to come train.
Oh, of course.
I always do. Like I tell it to people all the time, especially out here. Come to Team Quest. Come to our pro practice. Yeah, 10:30 to 12:30 every weekday. Come.
Exactly. I say that.
And dude, they never come, and if they do, they don't come back because you're gonna get embarrassed. You're gonna get embarrassed by someone at our gym. No, someone's gonna beat you at something terribly.
Yeah, terribly.
Terribly. There's people in our gym who could, even in my strength. So my strength is stand up. So there's still people at the gym who will beat me at my strength.
Yes.
And then people who will demolish me, in those other aspects of like wrestling and grappling. So yeah, there's always someone like that. So you're going to get humbled. But real fighters, okay, that's my weakness. And then they come back and they like crave to work.
If you're not getting beat up in something in your gym, you're in the wrong spot.
Yeah, for sure. But it's always, I'm sure, I don't know if this happened to you, but I know for sure it's happened to me. Gyms where I've started at, I've totally... like I've outgrown that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've outgrown. Again, it's not to bash anyone. Like there's just different levels of gyms and there's different levels of coaches. There's just different levels, and where I started at would not get me to where I'm at today, and where I was at even before Team Quest would not get me at where I'm at. It's just a fact. It just wouldn't have done it. But they take it very personally. Like, no, we could have got you. We built you up. We done this, and like.
You're not even built up yet. You're still.
Oh yeah, I'm still
only have 6 fights.
Yeah, it's like I'm still.
And you're still making amazing waves. I think. I think the potential's there.
Oh, I appreciate that, but they just take it so personal because in a gym atmosphere, fighting is a very intimate thing. Mm-hmm. I always make the joke of there's nowhere where my teammates haven't touched me where my wife hasn't touched me.
So true.
It's true, so true. But it is. It's very personal. It's very, intense to battle someone, especially on a daily basis. Hard, like we do. Like you just grow that bonding, grow that respect.
Absolutely.
And then it's just like one day, like. Someone's outgrown the gym. Like you just realize that like they're not, you're not being challenged as much anymore. That you're kind of seeing the deficiencies in the coaching and everything like that. And you just know that if you want to keep progressing, you've got to make a change. But then there's always some type of fallout. There's always a huge fallout, and that's what happened to me. Like at my last gym, I was 3-0. And I started creating some, separation with the gym. I just realized I was kind of outgrowing the students. I was kind of outgrowing the coaching staff there, and and they recognized it too. And then they just kicked me and they kicked me out. And I was working there. They fired me and kicked me out. And then when they start bashing you and
really, so there's a bad blood.
Oh, there's not anymore, because I made. There's mistakes on both parts, but. Definitely one party took it farther than the other.
That's always the part of growing. I outgrew my first gym. Well, it wasn't so much outgrowing it. The gym kind of split up. The owner was going through some issues, but he always would come over and say, "You're still a good guy, and I still love you. Wish you the best."
Well,
and he was a great coach. But there is a point of outgrowing. I felt like I outgrew New Jersey, and I did burn some bridges. There was some politics where I could train someplace and couldn't. So it was like Jersey was kind of done for me, and luckily I became a man and moved out to Cali too.
Yeah, for sure. No, then that leap of faith is definitely huge.
Fuck.
That leap of faith from moving like across the country is crazy.
Yeah. It's fun though. That's what life's all about.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've never had the hardest times in my life though, but it definitely forces you to grow up and make your own decisions. When I first moved out here, I was the couch guy. I didn't have a car. I was sleeping on the couch and sharing a bathroom with 2 other dudes. I did that for months, and then I finally built up enough money to get my own apartment with someone and get my own car. And dude, it's just such a growing process. And I'm very much like my family, my mom especially, is just very like, she doesn't want me to make the wrong decisions and make my own mistakes. But that's how you learn though. So I was talking to my buddy about this, Eddie, and I was like, dude, I don't know if I should buy this car because my mom is like, will you cut the fucking umbilical cord and make a decision? I was like, oh, like it just hit me. Like he was so real about it with me. I was like, you're absolutely right. It's so like I bought the car and my mom was like, that's a bad decision. I did it, but it was like, no, it's actually fine. I still drive it to this day. Like
I started out when I moved here. I bought a scooter.
Oh, really?
A 150cc scooter.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was driving and got hit by a truck.
No way.
Took out the whole front end, like it clipped me from the side, but luckily it missed me, but just took out my whole front end. I taped it together with matte tape. It was never the same though after I got hit. The guy drove off, so we didn't catch him. So I taped my scooter back together. It was way never the same. Yeah. And then eventually I upgraded to a motorcycle, and then I had my car, and my mom was nice enough to actually drive it out when she came for a visit. So
that's awesome. No, man, but it definitely changes your mentality. It definitely gets you that, like, I gotta go get it. Like, whatever I want, like, I gotta go get it. I mean, there was times where I was waking up at 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning, going to the gym and doing my strength and conditioning for an hour. I had to be at work at 6 a.m., work from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., come back home, eat something. Then I was at the gym again, teaching strength and conditioning classes, and then training again, and then going to, being in bed by like 9 or 10 o'clock and doing it again. I did that for about a year and a half.
Yeah,
But it's that grind, and it grows you as a person, and you start seeing people, back at home, like, oh, I'm about to grind, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then you're just all talk, dude.
You know what? You go back home and you could go to your local watering hole or something where you used to hang out, and you see all the same people right where you left them.
Yeah,
like, at least I'm doing something.
You definitely you see that, and when people start like resenting you at some point about it, like that you were able to make it, because my team, like the people I came out here with, I think it was about, man, how many people came out with us? Like 6 or 7 people, and now there's only 3 of us left that actually were able to make lives, and we're just